Judging by the trail of our quarry, I'd wager on a stronghold. There. I've marked it on your atlas. Caesarius might be able to get you there.
I have some good news and some bad news. The watchstones we placed in the atlas have been captured by one of the Elder Slayers. The good news is, Hoorah can now track the location of this Elder Slayer. The bad news, they're not going to give up the stones without a fight. Hoorah has located another citadel, so I've taken the liberty of drawing up another map. Good luck out there. We're counting on you.
Good luck with your maps. Need a map?
They've come to you to die. You are their mercy.
Death to sin! I must have time to gather my will. I am no beast of burden. must have time to gather my... I must have time to gather my will. My mana is spent.
I've killed countless thousands. What's one more?
Of law! To your lord. Obey the law.
I must have time to gather my will.
Hand of justice. Answer to your lord. Unworthy. Lawbreaker. My word is law. Your sentence is death. Hand of justice. Crush the intruder.
mana is spent. Must have time to gather my will.
Hand of justice! Your sentence is death! By my authority! Hand of justice! Justice! By my authority! Lawbreaker! Onward! Answer to your law! Weight of law!
My mana is spent.
The weight of law! Onward! Lawbreaker! My word is law! Your sentence is death! The weight of law! Answer to your law! Time takes even the greatest of men.
I am no beast of burden.
I strike harder and move more quickly with each passing clash. Always I am on the verge of reaching that glorious flow of battle when my haste shall outmatch the mists. I feel it in my limbs, burning in my arms as I cleave the enemy in twain. It no longer matters what phantasm I fight, only that it falls in a single blow, making way for my next opponent. The dream is close. My kingdom is nearly within my grasp. I will have it, even if it means I must fight ceaselessly and forever. Raw might flows through me, and exhilaration is my constant companion. My people will have their home. Drox the warrior.
Judging by the trail of our quarry, I'd wager on a stronghold. There. I've marked it on your atlas. Sirius might be able to get you there.
Need a map?
My mana is spent.
Good day. Slow progress is still progress. Do not lose sight of what we work towards.
Welcome! Time has no meaning here. Your pain will be endless.
Distasteful! Distasteful! Vile! Distasteful! Repugnant! I shall free you! Vile! Away with you! Sloth! I shall free you! Vile! Away with you! Sloth! I shall free you! Distasteful! Vile! Repugnant! I shall free you! Be judged! Wrath! Repugnant! I shall free you! Away with you! Loot them! Revolting! I shall free you! Be judged! Wrath! Repugnant! I shall free you! Be judged!
I thought myself better than you. But you and I are bound to waltz together forever. Loathsome, foul creatures. This atlas is infested with vice. In every direction they emerge from the mists, dancing, laughing, eating, drinking, and cavorting in grotesque exaggeration of mortal frailties. The smack of their lips as they chew grates on my ears. The gulps from their bulging throats as they down their wine fills me with fury. And the embrace of coins and jewels and golden treasure makes me shudder. Do you not see how repugnant you are? Stop consuming, stop partaking, and look at the abomination you have become. Every morsel you stuff down your gullet, and every lie you tell yourself just makes you that much more monstrous. You are changing. You are misshapen. Your mouth grows, your eyes bulge, and your hands bloat. Do you not see yourself? I shall save you from your own vices by purging your weakness. Veritania the Redeemer. My only consolation is that I am not alone in this torture. See you soon.
I thought you were a fool for seeking out Mervale. A fool in love with death. Now, I don't know. Still, you've delivered this coast from the terrors that long held sway here. We may now find some respite, and that's more than any of us could have hoped for. But please, consider this. What have you become when even nightmares fear you? Be well. Yes? Yes? Lion Eye's watch isn't much, but it's ours. We could use you here, while you live. While we live, we are blessed.
Greetings, survivor. She is so mysterious, Exile. And I love mysterious. She told me all her friends disappeared, which also happened to Aina. She thinks her friends are dead. But I don't think my friends are dead. They disappeared after I cracked open a buck's skull while we were eating and plucked out its brain. We weren't even eating venison. I don't even remember where I found the buck. That was a wonderful birthday.
Learn anything new? I don't think June trusts me yet. When we speak, she always averts her eyes and keeps her sentences short, like she wants to leave. I've caught her staring at me too. I understand why she might be suspicious, especially given what she's been through, but we need all the close friends we can get. We need to be able to trust each other. What can I do to win her over? I've spent far more time with far worse people than Einhar. He's eccentric, sure, but his actions come from a place of love. Well, not for his game, but for us. Yes, he keeps bringing me slabs of completely inedible animal flesh, and yes, he is loud enough to draw every fiend in a 10-mile radius towards us. But you can be damned sure he'll stand and fight each and every fiend that comes running. The meat I could do without.
Cool winds. Anyone who believes the world is coming to an end raises some red flags. He has that unusual accent, but he claims to be from Oriath. I think Einhar is hiding more than just his face. But who am I to talk? The rules of my Akara forbid women ever feeling the touch of a man. No families, no loose lips, no loose ends. But it makes no mention of two women. When our jobs are done at last, I believe I would like a stronger bond with her. Perhaps we could find some orphans of our own to take in. Be careful.
Greetings, survivor. Hello. The first ones are watching, survivor. Don't disappoint them. The ritual is complete.
My mana is spent. I am no beast of burden. I must have time to gather my will.
Greetings. Greetings. They were the first survivors. The first ones showed my people that to win, you must outlast. They left this world long ago to seek other survivors. But they will return, and when they do, I will join them in the Great Grove. And you will join Einar, yes? Yes. Goodbye. The crunch of bone, the splatter of blood. Is there anything as satisfying? You have proved you're a survivor, and the first ones have rewarded you. Capture more beasts, perform more rituals. This is what we will do, yes? The first ones have many blessings to bestow. We will discover them. Now go, survivor. More beasts await.
Alright, we're safe for the time being. Now let me introduce myself properly. Lily Roth. Yep, I'm one of those Roths. Some call me smuggler, others pirate. Yeah, I prefer the sound of nautical entrepreneur. Came up with that one myself. So you come see Lily if you need something, or even if you just fancy a good chat with a lovely lady. Don't think I'd be forgetting that favor you owes me. In fact, now I think of it, there's certainly a way you can be repaying this most considerable debt. You see, those blasted cultists have been plundering the refugee ships trying to escape Hoorah. And if not for my incomparable skill as a sea captain, we'd have met the same fate. But now the drowned dead are washing ashore, and they ain't staying dead. There's been a whole lot of blood, sweat and tears getting these few lucky survivors here in one piece. What sort of captain would I be if I let them get ripped apart by walking corpses? Wipe the Twilight Strand clean of those filthy undead bastards and I'll call us even. Might even throw in a little something extra if you can pull it off.
Despite your best efforts, Beast Slayer, a splinter of hope remains. The very seed that brought my beast into existence. The Dark Ember. Never again shall it birth a life so magnificent as the beast. Yet a residue of that power still lingers. Enough to give us a fighting chance against the ravenous Kitava. How do we obtain this Dark Ember? 3 hearts were silenced. 3 hearts must sing again, one last time. In that final flickering of life, our Savior's seed shall be born. All I need are 3 fine souls with which to stoke the flames. Chevron of Umbra, Inquisitor Maligaro, Doldry the Dark Tongue. 3 spirits of near unfathomable resilience and vigor, freed with the beast's final exhalation. So let us begin the harvest. Chevron has come home to Axiom. We shall give her the warm welcome she sincerely deserves. If she is to be of any use to us, the Umbra's spirit must be wrenched from her mortal manifestation and lashed to our greater cause. That is your task. For my part, I shall negotiate the terms of her cooperation. With a tragic kiss and lasting embrace, her essence shall pass into me as if she were a sweet breath from the mouth of my lover. It is a sacrosanct sacrifice for all involved. Thankfully for you, all I ask is that you do what you clearly do best. Kill.
First we hear that Oriath has lost its bloody mind, and then you turn up. Doesn't take a scholar to work out how these 2 events might be connected. I don't know what's going on out there, and I probably wouldn't understand it if I saw it with my own 2 eyes. What I do know is this. The world we knew, it's gone. Now we have to do our damnedest to make sure we don't go with it. Nessa. I saw her one night, running out across the coast, headed in the direction of the mudflats. Called out to her, but she didn't even turn her head. Maybe she couldn't hear me. Maybe she didn't want to. I don't bloody know. I tried to run after her, but she'd vanished into the darkness before my feet had barely touched the sand. So I tracked her, all the way to the mudflats, and that's when her tracks, they just stopped. No sign of meeting someone or something. No sign of a struggle. It's like one moment she was running and the next, gone. Look, I've heard some things about what you've done. Things that beg a belief. Now you can do this, please. Find Nessa. Bring her back to us. Those shambling nobles out there on the strand, they left Oriath to die a bloody death, Rats fleeing a sinking ship. Seems they learned a bit of the hard truth, though. Doesn't matter how much money you have, you can't outrun death when it comes for you. Can't say they've actually noticed, though. They're still the same flesh-eating bastards they've always been. Just a bit more obvious about it now. Farewell.
Hadri of Dayton, you have transgressed against your god and your fellow... Joy of Kimby, you have transgressed against your god and your fellow man. You have been a willing vessel for the following sins. Civil envy. 1 count of harboring a sentenced exile. God has charged me with your redemption. You are hereby exiled to Rayclast, where it is hoped you shall come to repent your sins and make your peace with your beloved father.
I'm not up to that just yet.
A wretched sight. So many drowned Oriathans cast into undeath. You freed them from their torment, and I'm sure they'd be grateful. Here, that little something extra I were talking about. Though the sea takes away, it gives back in greater measure. While you be skulking about, I've managed to do a bit of hunting on my own. Got a hole full of baubles and trinkets here, which I managed to, procure. Take a look. You might find something particularly naughty to help you on your life's voyage.
Now there's a pair of eyes I could never forget. If the tales are true, those peepers of yours have seen all the wonders of Rayclast by now. And a few things they likely wish they hadn't. Oh, And no need for us to speak of Hoorah. My ears are brimful with the sorrows these wretched companions of yours have been spilling. Now, I'm sure you've noticed that Lion Eyes Watch has seen better days. Our once bubbling township has, alas, become a brooding quagmire of gloom and despair. I blame the unrelenting weather. As you know, I am both a humanitarian and a strong believer in the soul-sustaining power of story. Back when I was still captain of the Merry Gull, many days at sea afforded me time to work on my thespian aspirations. I wrote a theatrical epic, a one-man show entitled Cedric and the Buxom Stranger. I sealed the manuscript inside a roll of oiled leather and stashed it in the hold for safekeeping. Perhaps you could salvage it for me from that tidal island upon which my poor ship came to rest. Who knows? Maybe we can bring some joy back to Lion Eyes Watch with a bit of live entertainment. Now there's a sorry tale, more miserable than any dirge I've ever heard. Nessa's gone, wandered off into the night muttering to herself about dancing to his ditty. No, I didn't go after her. In truth, she was gone when I woke up the next morn. I only imagined she'd be muttering, you see, on account of the murmuring she's been making these past few weeks. Always the same, about him and his song, whoever in damnation he is.
Another good find. Another good find. Good find, Exile.
The harvest is ready at last.
Feel compelled to stride beneath the waves? Perhaps you should.
I'm not up to that just yet. Can't see why I'd want to do that here.
Marvelous. Oh, yes, yes, it's all here. Act 1, Scene 1. Along the shoreline, the beach grass sways, a blazing sun sinks 'neath sparkling bays. Oh, strange be the night when the drowned dead rise, and a pale moon ascends upon cold skies. The stranger still is lost to me, those silken pillows upon which I lay at sea. Moody, atmospheric, not as funny as I remember, but I'm sure it gets better in Act 2. Regardless, you have my thanks. Please, take something for your efforts. And next time you're in town, do come and see the show. I'll leave your name at the door. If I can salvage a door from somewhere, that is. Yes, we live in curious times indeed. A time when old stories are being birthed, muling, and puking into our world of dirt and blood. It's all a bit inspiring, really. Hence, I've written a little something. Ancient anecdotes now wake from their beds, looming in our fears, towering above our heads. Age-old lusts and bygone greeds, walking and reeking as humanity bleeds. Rivers of history, lakes of blood, the gods stand upon us as we cower in the mud.
I'm not up to that just yet.
He did this to me. The King of Brian. And he wants me to be... Oh God. Please. I don't know how I'm doing this, nor if I may again. Help me. Help us before...
You've seen Nessa. Talk to her. Well, that's more than I dared hope for, truth be told. This change she's going through, this curse the so-called Brine King has put on her, it can be broken. I know it. You've got to keep going. Follow her trail before it gets any colder. Make your way along the coast, the ship graveyard, even Mervale's cave if you must. By my reckoning, this king's not the sort to venture far from his briny bed. The submerged passage. It's underwater again, and there's no sign of those shells you used to drain it. Fortunately, there's another way to reach Axiom Prison and beyond. A path I scouted out myself, through what was once the fetid pool, and then along the ridge above it. Problem is, whatever's brought those Karui revenants to life has also sealed the pool entranceway with a bloody great totem.
That Karui relic you're carrying looks bloody familiar. Yeah, I've seen its twin stuck in that totem guarding Tukahama's doorstep. If I were you, and in this case I'm glad I'm not, let's see about putting that eye back where it belongs. It might do nothing at all, but it's at least worth a shot, I reckon.
Farewell.
What a lovely day we're having. With Kitava now stomping around Orioth, it seems mythology is fast turning into reality. Then again, the gods didn't just spring out of some poet's head. I certainly couldn't pin an ode to the god of eternally flowing ale, and then just stick me mug out to catch the free brew. No, I imagine the gods once dined, danced, and defecated just like you or I. Now they seem ready to take another stab at it. At life, I mean. Take the Karui father of war, for instance, old Tukahama, all comfortably tucked up in Kaom's holdfast, and playing war like a few thousand years was only a quiet weekend for him. Come to think of it, perhaps it was. Made any progress? You do know it's cruel to make jests of an addled mind, don't you? Nessa, alive, and turned into a bloody cod? Huh! That said, you've never been wrong before. So seems like I'm going to have to stare this fanciful tale in its fishy face. She talked of the Brine King, did she? Now there's a name what can trouble the breeches of even the most jaded of poets. Though Mervale might be dead, the sea still has its seductive songs, And this time it's a big, briny baritone doing the wailing.
Greetings. From here to the beast, the journey is long and arduous. You are strong for a mortal, yet the beating of this war drum shall burst your human heart. So we must fortify it with something a little more divine in nature. While a god may fall, their essence lingers, a quiet cacophony outside of your perception. That essence can be yours to galvanize your will and invigorate your body. I have the perfect first donor for us. Tukohama, the father of war. In a pool once foul and fetid, he has raised a fortress now ferocious and fearsome. Best you pay him a visit before he also raises that ugly son of his, and unleashes him upon what remains of Rayclast. The Karui were a peaceful culture of farmers and fishermen, before fate thrust the great Tukohama upon them. It was he who put the stone axes in their hands, and the hunger for conquest in their bellies. Farmers quenched their dry fields in blood. Fishermen emptied their holds of fish and filled them with land-greedy hordes. Battle by battle, war by war, Tukohama carved the steps that would carry him up a mountain of severed heads and into immortality. Tukohama's axe is called anger, his spear is called greed, and the victims are the minds and hearts of all Karui. Remember, humanity needs us.
Hello. When I first met him, I underestimated Einhar. Coming from the poorest of Ezamites, themselves already a battered people in this region of the world, Einhar struck me as someone who could contribute brawn to our cause, but not much else. How wrong I was. If anyone can decipher the dark design afflicting the creatures of Rayclast, it's him. I've been looking for the source of all this, an equation or overall pattern. But he's unknowingly taken an empirical approach. By learning about and understanding every single corrupted animal, and the energies their blood contains, he's done more to advance our understanding of the problem than I could ever have done myself. One day, he may even solve the symptoms of corruption without ever understanding the root cause. Make no mistake, Exile, that's impressive. A humanistic brute force approach to a cosmic problem. Keep your life to your own.
The god of war has reshaped this region. He's always been unimaginative.
Poor corrupted creature.
me teach you the laws of war.
I'm not up to that just yet.
Tukohama. The soil wants for your blood no more. I am Sin, thief of virtue, and it is mine to take what I will from the defeated, to make a gift of it to the victorious. Alas, your mortal frame cannot withstand the unfettered fire of deism. It would turn your blood to mist and scorch your precious flesh black. So choose modestly and choose wisely, for there is much more at stake here than your little hopes and dreams.
Can't see why I'd want to do that here.
You've killed the Karui war god. Can you kill a god? Look, I can't even begin to understand what you've just done. Vestal will be able to put our gratitude into words more fitting of a legend. Me, I'll work with what I know. A solid reward for a damn fine deed. You've killed the... Axiom Prison has been fairly quiet since he saw fit to retire its warden. Afraid that's no longer the case. Chevron of Umbra, the very witch that made Brutus the man he was. I don't know if she's a ghost, a ghoul, or some other death-scorning creature I've never heard of, but she's up there, tinkering away with her black arts and twisting nature around her bony old fingers. Honestly, I don't care why she's come back, or what cruelty she's brewing up there. She's a boil that needs lancing before the infection spreads. Farewell.
No, I was never there. Screams, howls and booms of unholy intonation. The shriek and clank of some unfathomable apparatus, and the pervading stench of scorched flesh and boiling blood. That's Axiom Prison, now that Our Lady of Umbra has come home to roost. As a poet, I have nothing against a little creativity. Yet while I might mould word and wonder, Chevron's art tends towards the visceral, flesh, bone, and soul. Artistic pursuit is the loftiest of callings, but in this instance, I believe some rigorous criticism is in order.
Not you! On my life and my work, I shall not suffer this humiliation again!
My mana is gone.
And so it begins. My ethereal veins now run with dark ambition. Let's turn that trickle into a torrent. Let's harvest ourselves a Grand Inquisitor. Just as Chevron's spirit chose to return to comfortable climes, Maligaro's essence once again dwells in his very own chamber of sins. Though I hasten to add that Maligaro's sins are not my sins. I prefer transgressions of a more natural order than does he. I'd carry you to Frisia if I could, yet I expended too much of myself when I snatched you from the jaws of Kitava. You will need to find your own path, as will I. Make the journey, and please survive it. We too have much work left to do.
I'm not up to that just yet.
Greetings. Not all beasts were born equal, Survivor. The first ones look upon some captures and sacrifices more fondly than others. You may not even deem some beasts worthy of sacrifice. Do not worry. Einar has imbued some orbs with powerful blood magic. You can use these bestiary orbs on any beast in the menagerie, and the beast will be bound to the orb. Then you can do whatever you want with it. Give it to a handsome man like Einar, maybe. You cannot tell, but I am very handsome under this mask. Once a bestiary orb contains a beast, you can use it again to release the creature to the menagerie. Be careful, though. It will break the orb. The first ones are watching.
May humanity flourish.
Who'd have thought those bleating bastards would go and find religion, eh? Now there's nothing quite so sure to spoil a man's appetite than an ecclesiastical debate come supper time. Yet this goatman god, this Aberath, seems fair determined to mix his morsels with his spiritual enlightenments. To put no finer point on it, when the goatmen find him a soft pink human or two as divine sacrifice, he eats them, meat, soul, and all. Well, that's what the legends say.
Good work clearing another path through Axiom Prison. I'm starting to think those stories I've heard about you might be true. With the road to the Frisian forest clear again, I trekked through to the forests beyond to see if the strangeness we're seeing on the coast is also happening inland. What I saw nearly froze my heart solid. The animals there, poor wretches, overtaken by some sort of parasite. As close as I can reckon, they're like termites, burrowing into flesh and mind instead of wood. If I'm right, there'll be a nest somewhere, and a queen. If you can find it, destroy it. Those parasites aren't something we want to see around here anytime soon. Stay sharp out there.
Greetings. I have another deity in mind who could be persuaded to donate a little essence to your ongoing edification. Aberath, a deranged old goat with a thirst for human souls, whose cloven hooves now stand astride the old prisoner's road. Have you ever tasted a soul, Beastlayer? No, I imagine not. The poets will speak of sweet souls, bitter souls, enlightened souls, and twisted souls. You know what most of them taste like, really. Regret, with a lingering aftertaste of should have known better. A renowned alchemist, eroded by his lust for distilled spirits, and not the alcoholic kind. Aberath the Scholar King, dancing upon a stage of chemicals and fire. He used his knowledge to burn away the flesh so as to liquidate the life force within, a libation he consumed with both frequency and alacrity. It started with animals, goats specifically, and thus his own cruelty became his curse. The Scholar King became the Cloven One, quaffer of souls. Some say he turned to the dram of man in order to cure himself. I believe his thirst simply grew with his burgeoning immortality. And perhaps he still retains some of his scholarly nature, for he seemed fair determined to share his hard-won wisdom. He took himself a princess, a lovely thing from a local tribe, and 9 months later she gave birth to something rather unlovely. The Fawn, as wild and wicked as the shaggy god himself. Schooled in his father's ways, the Fawn would carry off many more virgins in his time. And thus, the race of goatmen found their footing. Goodbye.
I'm not up to that just yet.
What are you doing? God drag you to damnation if you're gonna stand by and let this happen to me, to us! Because believe me, the Brian King has far greater appetites than one nothing of a girl from Oriath. It doesn't matter what he'll do to me now. It's what he'll do to Rayclast. Yet there's hope. There's always hope. If only you can reach Mervale's cave. If only...
My mana is gone.
Abarath! At last, your thirst is quenched.
Good souls were hard enough to come by without that parched old goat drinking his fill. You have done humanity a noble service.
Can't see why I'd want to do that here.
The old goat's turned up his tootsies, has he? Oh, wait! I feel a poem coming on. Through the bleating flock, our exile did wade, over hoof and horn and goat blood sprayed, until at last an audience with old King Billy, or the Cloven One, or Aberoth, and other names just as silly. Dine with me, friend, old Billy did growl. Feed me your soul, feed me it now. Our exile just smiled and gutted that goat, so that not one more soul would get stuffed down his old throat. Honestly, you wouldn't believe how hard it is to find a good rhyme for goat exile. Poor Nessa. If the ship graveyard is sealed off with some brine-born barrier, then the king clearly knows that you're coming to relieve him of his queen-to-be. Ah, well, you should be used to long and arduous journeys now. If nothing else, it's good fodder for an epic. I'd best get composing.
Greetings! The ship graveyard's blocked off. Damn it! That means that Brian King bastard knows you're coming after Nessa. In that case, you'll have to pass through Prisoner's Gate, follow the mountains, and make your way back to the sea by way of Mervale's caverns. From the sound of it, Nessa's in no condition to venture far from the coast, so she has to be around there somewhere. Farewell!
May humanity flourish. The puppet mistress was a revered matriarch who nurtured her tribe into greatness through love, peace, and fecundity. That is, until her children were slaughtered by Tukohama's brave warriors. Dissolution and desperation, they do troubling things to the spirit. And given enough time, what one believes, one becomes. A maggot that festers and writhes in the fetid mud of the wettest lands, Rislatha, the white worm that corrupts the very earth while her heart yearns to replenish her slaughtered brood. Hers was a prolific tribe once, fat with peace and fecund with love. Then Tukohama's fire swept across her sacred land, and her children were butchered by the madness of war. Now the Immortal Mother has one waking thought. She will also ensure that her children are never harmed again. How? By making everyone's children her children. Goodbye.
Beauty will grow from your remains.
Rislatha! Release this land to the will of its true children. The Asmeri believed that, one day, this world of ours would collapse under the weight of Rislatha's offspring. A frightening thought, and thankfully, a mistaken one.
Made any progress?
Another damn god, you say?
Yeah, that figures.
A primitive deity from a primitive time, crawling up out of the dirt with a view to enslaving us all with its creeping, bloody offspring. I think we could all do without gods like that. So here, take something for the road ahead. The way things are going, it'll be a tough one. Farewell.
The Brine King. His time has almost come. Then hope will be... I will be gone. Please, take the Black Flag. It once fluttered from the mast of the Black Crest, Wayland Roth's ship. Throw it into the flames of the beacon. It's your only chance of reaching me, of turning this tide. The King can't keep secrets like this from me any longer. It's just the way of things. Find me, please, before...
That would only slow me down. I'm not up to that just yet.
May humanity flourish. Old salty Sogoth, pickled in a thick brine of ignominious carnality. Vanity was Sogoth's downfall, and I think he grew his shell just to shield himself from the shame of it all. It's time he sailed out to that reef refuge of his, cracked his carapace, and dined on the divine meat beneath. Remember, humanity needs us.
Made any progress? You won't find a sailor that doesn't whisper a quiet prayer to the Brine King before casting off. In fact, under the maddening radiance of a full moon, the more superstitious captains would drown some poor slave or failed mutineer just to keep old Tsoagoth happy. No, that wasn't a sneeze. That's the fish god's old Esmerian name. It's considered foul luck to speak it on board a ship. A keel-hauling offence.
Greetings. Never took much stock in the stories Lily told. Didn't sit right. Those full moon sacrifices her and her ilk would do out on the open water. But now, in light of everything, I'm obliged to reconsider. If it meant Nessa might be spared the attentions of that wretched Brine King, I'd even be inclined to slit a mutineering throat or two myself. If Nessa thinks you can use that old rag of a banner to rustle up a phantom ship, who am I to argue? I don't need to understand how she comes back to us, only that she can. Farewell.
Still working on that poem, Exile.
You've got the black flag from your grandfather's ship. Ah, the Black Crest were the most formidable ship to ever sail the seas. Yet now it's a hulk of rotted wood and bone, mouldering away in that forsaken graveyard. But why is it there? You don't think that Mervyn... Never. I wouldn't even think it. No Roth would ever fall victim to that tentacled sea hag. Waylon must be out there somewhere. Yeah, castaway, that's it. For now, you'll be off to safe passage to the Brine King's Reef, and there ain't no ship going to get you there faster than the Black Crest. So as the only Roth present and accounted for right now, I hereby give you permission to burn that flag and the beacon. Might as well see if there's some truth in that old legend about it resurrecting the wrecks of Roth's past and other less notable vessels. Maybe when this is all done, I'll take the Black Crest for myself and sail out in search of me grandfather. He's too hardy an old barnacle to kill, so he'll be out there, somewhere.
How you going? You'll not find a more renowned pirate as Waylon Rocktooth Roth. In times when Fairgraves was still a whelp earning his sea legs, Rocktooth was prowling the Strait of Orioth in his ship, the Black Crest. It's said he built it himself, lining its hull with the bones of some great sea beast he slew with nothing but a harpoon and a bottle of rum. Never was there a more nimble, more ferocious vessel. Like that Leviathan's spirit still lived and breathed in its timbers. No one sighted Rocktooth for 20 years or more, but I know where the Black Crest is. The ship graveyard, no less. Seems that Waylon Roth might have had his last meal with Lady Mervale.
Yeah, I know the Brine King. What pirate doesn't? Drown me fair share of mutineers under the full moon. To keep the old king's slumber when storms threaten, you see. If he's been roused from the depths, it'd be nothing but ill tidings for those of us with air in our lungs. He'll be getting back to raping and eating us ocean-going folks soon enough, stealing wombs in which to spawn his slithering offspring. Aye, that blasphemy is out there somewhere right now, I'd wager. And to think there'd still be folks needing transport from Orioth. More commissions to be had. But a lecherous sea god, now, that complicates things.
May humanity flourish. When I first met Tsoagoth, he was a seafaring chieftain, the beloved leader of a prosperous and sprawling fisher tribe. It was the curse of legacy that made him into the blasphemous Brine King, an endless madness of propagation and disappointment, all in the vain hope of recreating himself. Fishwife after fishwife he took, and every one of them spawned a monster. A truly noble king would have surrendered his kingdom to cleaner blood. Alas, although Tsoagoth had many fine qualities, generosity was not one of them.
I'm not up to that just yet.
So you're the shite that's gone and summoned me to the beacon, eh? Damn it all. These rules are now unbound to you. The legendary Whalem Roth, captain of the Black Crest, cursed to be the undead slave of some lowly outcast by the looks of it. You got an ass for a brain in a tick skull of yours? Of course I'll ferry you to the Bride King's bloody reef. I'd be wanting to discharge this accursed duty and get back to me afterlife. It's not right. Not natural being above water without a beating heart in me chest. So get yourself aboard and be quick about it. Don't think I'm going to be bawling and chaining after your sorry ass once our journey to the reef is done.
I'm not up to that just yet.
Right. Well, on with it then. Go find yourself a salty sovereign to dethrone. Fool's errand, if you ask me. Old Briny will gut you like a fish, but at least with you dead in the water, I'll be free to get on with my own voyage. So off you go, matey. Lord of Salt and Scales, what we used to call him. They say when the gods got the boot from our lands, that monstrosity went to sleep down in the deep. Dreamed the kind of dreams that cause all sorts of guild abominations to rise up, to plague and hunt us for what he thinks we must have done to him. Was a time we got ordered to hunt them things near extinction, free the trade routes from old Briny's tyranny. Even so, not a sailor worth his salt who won't sacrifice a lousy deckhand or two by light of the full moon just to keep that overgrown crab slumbering in the Oriathan trench. If he's risen again, you bet your bloody ass we're all buggered.
My mana is gone.
Survivor, you are well prepared for the end. This is the fight.
I'm not up to that just yet.
This one is captured. Einar will take it. This one is captured. Einar will take it. That was a hunt you will not soon forget. You're welcome. Goodbye.
I'm not up to that just yet.
So courageous. Such a fine example of womanhood. I simply knew you wouldn't disappoint me. Or my husband. You see, His Majesty could never be satiated on his wedding day by one bride alone. Thank you, my new sister. I shall always treasure your company.